we drafted 12 pitchers, 8 position players, 19 of which were college players, 1 high school player in the second round. That was Calvin Ziegler, high school right-handed pitcher. We feel really strong about this draft. We think it's one of our deeper drafts. I think the biggest difference from this year and in years past was the depth of the draft and the fact that we were able to hold steady with slot round players all the way through the first 10. In the past, I think you've seen us take senior and maybe more budget cuts from rounds 4 through 10, certainly in rounds 8, 9, and 10. This year, we were able to maintain a little more depth throughout, and we did not even take a money-saving pick in the first 10 rounds. So I think that was a difference. I wouldn't say it was a philosophy necessarily. It's just kind of how things broke with signability this year. So extremely happy. Obviously, we went pitching heavy in the first 10 rounds. I believe we took 5 position players, rounds 11 through 20, so it evened out a little bit more. But that's the state of the Mets draft. I think it was a little bit tougher, the signability. I also think there was a trend, especially early in the draft, where teams were, as a strategy, were looking to save money and spend it elsewhere. And sometimes when that happens, you save the money early, and the high school players' signability keeps going up and up and up. And then eventually it gets to a point where they become unsignable for a lot of teams, and teams start dropping out of the competition. I agree 100%. And it's something we're going to have to look at and study, this being the first year of the 20-round draft. But I agree. The signability was a little bit different, a little harder for certain high school players. I think there were others that were a little bit more signable and got taken a little earlier. So it's a trend that we're going to have to study in upcoming years. We went into day 3, looking for a shortstop. And I don't know how interesting this is, but one of them was Wyatt Young, that we were kind of playing the draft board with, and we were really hoping. We had a few scares that we would lose out on the player. And no matter what round it is, the feeling of having a player picked when you were just about to take him is still the same. Whether it's the second round or the 15th round, you start falling for the player, and you start really imagining him being in the organization. I would say he was one of the players that we had targeted a little bit this year and kind of fit the needs of the minor leagues.
Let me mention another one, because we talked about Rowdy Jordan. I don't want to forget JT Ginn. I mentioned that we took some players from there. And if you look at Jake Mangum's Twitter right now, he said something about getting the band back together. So, and ironically, our area scout that covers Mississippi went to Mississippi State. So his fandom is pretty high for that school. And so, yeah, with JT Ginn, Cole Gordon, Jake Mangum, and now Rowdy, that's a pretty neat thing for those guys to be able to play again in our organization.